trigger happy and I give less than a fuck. Love me or hate me, I'ma show enough, rip shit up. It's Mr. Nothing, nice on a mic stand. Mic in the left and the zest in my right hand. I took a puff, had enough now, hold up. If that was Indo, niggas getting rolled up.
What's good, folks? This is Acid Roots. So I'm going to review the debut album by 21 Savage. This is basically a project that is, it's his debut. It's called Issa Album. I don't know if it's, like, when you see this review, it's not going to say Issa Album review. It's kind of in debate whether it's Issa Album or if it's just called Issa, but I'm just going to say in the review it's going to be Issa Album review. So that's kind of the concept there. 21 Savage is a rapper from the Atlanta sort that put out a large mixtape back in 2016 called Savage Mode, which got like labels attention, and he had hit songs with Future and a few other folks. The Savage Mode EP was produced by Metro Boomin, who he collaborated with. That's a big producer from the Atlanta area, like with Future produces for him and that type stuff. And 21 Savage had a couple of mixtapes in 2015, and he dropped an EP around that time also called Free Goo Wop, which is a nickname for Gucci Mane. And this was the album, once he got signed to the label, that was worked upon after Savage Mode. That's kind of the concept. So basic, it's Atlanta trap, very similar to the stuff Future does and other folks. He's, to me, 21 Savage is one of the more premier trap artists. He's the one, kind of like how Ludacris and T.I. and like Slim Thug, some of those folks were back in the 2000s. He's kind of one of the more bank shot premier trap artists, of note from at least 2016 or so forward. I definitely would kind of have to say that's the assortment about it. So, when you listen to Migos, you listen to Future, you listen to Gunna, Young Thug, some of those folks, this would be another cat that you'd pretty much, he's right next door. So I kind of feel like with that, basically this album is anchored by one single, and that's it, and that's basically Bank Account. It was a large enough song that Lil Wayne rapped to it on one of his mixtapes in recent years. That's how I found out about this song and knew about it. And it's pretty, I like the beat, real mellow, kind of feels just like you're out in Hawaii on like some sort of summery island or something like that, kind of kicking back in like a Hawaiian shirt and maybe like a straw hat with like a mojito. It just feels really kind of mellow and not necessarily rowdy and rousing. Not really like an eclectic and up-tempo kind of. I mean, it's interesting for that to kind of be a charting single because it charted pretty high. I mean, it's not even mid-tempo. It's just a real down-tempo rap song, but it's not like sultry and romantic. And that's kind of the concept about it. So it's interesting to kind of get a down-tempo rap song that actually charted as high as it did. And it's pretty good. It's just breezy. I mean, it's about like a central topic on this album from 21 Savage is money, but basically it's stylish enough to be a hit just in the course of just being more concerned with your surroundings more so than, it's not really so much of a hustle song and a kind of, motivational type thing. I mean, it can be if you're looking at it from, you want to do the stuff that 21 Savage has about him, but it's really just kind of a real recreational kind of song. That's really the promotion on this project. That's about all that really goes along with it. And it's basically on top of that, there's only like one or two central producers, which is just Metro Boomin and Southside. No guests on here at all, minus like maybe like some background vocals from Young Thug. I didn't notice, but that's about the closest. It's really just a complete solo for Dolo kind of affair. But there are other hits on here. To talk about some of these, I mean, for the most part, like I was saying, 21 Savage talks pretty consecutively about money. Multiple songs, Dead People, Money Combo, Whole Lot, Bank Account, those type records, more than two records, enough to kind of say that money is kind of a central kind of theme on here. And there is a number of songs for the ladies on here also, but they're kind of off-key in a lot of ways. I feel like that seemed like it just kind of felt like it's more of like the Savage lifestyle more so than something that's actually kind of like sweet talking and kind of more romanticized and that type of stuff. I mean, I feel like the game is probably there, but I think more of it's just concerned with like the affairs of like money and such. But I really feel like Baby Girl, FaceTime Special, and partially I feel like because of this, a lot of it has to do with like the poor choices in production and kind of like an awkward kind of assortment of where you would listen to some of these songs. And they like FaceTime is probably one of the more awkward beats on here, just in the sense where it just I mean, I get the concept of like FaceTime as far as saying that you're not really up and about, and for the most part not probably even smoking and things like that, but it's interesting to get a song for FaceTime, but I would have liked a better song that had more pizzazz to it. And yeah, so basically beats like Famous, Thug Life, and FaceTime all kind of have relatively awkward and kind of unorthodox beats. And it kind of feels like, for the most part, I would say most rappers should be able to knock out a song called Thug Life pretty well, especially someone like 21 Savage. Named 21 Savage should be able to handle a song like that pretty simply, but it kind of feels like it was just kind of discredited in that. And there's a severe lack of interesting topics also. It feels like money is pretty much the prevalent theme. Now, it's not to say that these songs are not songs that can have money being thrown and making it rain and that type stuff in strip clubs, but there is not, I mean, the problem with it is there has to be the problem with it is with most albums, there's kind of half and half, where you've got your band throwing songs and then you've got like your other type down tempo and other type songs. But it kind of just winds up being awkward in a lot of ways, because I feel like songs like Baby Girl, Thug Life, FaceTime, Famous, Numb, a lot of these kind of have like really awkward and cumbersome productions that are not interesting to listen to and kind of make you question where you would listen to them, and minus the FaceTime song, what situation you would listen to them. I mean, really, hearing trap in a situation where you're not booming up the street in a car or at a club or a strip club or some place where there's people and smoking and skimpy women, it's kind of like it's awkward. And I feel like there hasn't been enough trap lyricists to be able to convey that in those sorts of senses, and it kind of reaches a point where it's like these just kind of feel like plotting moments that kind of detract from the project more so than try to amp it and kind of raise it up to show it new lights. For the most part, trap is mostly seen, like I said, as kind of like a booming kind of situation where it's mostly about your whip game, the women you're with, and getting crunk in those type ways. But I just feel like some of these moments kind of the topics just kind of feel very kind of primary and straightforward in a lot of ways, where it's just like, hey, you know that you're only lit, you would almost think most people would think the reason why you bought this is for bank account and maybe like a couple other joints to put in a mixtape for like cruising out on the town, and that's what it should be treated as. But it's just kind of disappointing because the single was as good as it was, and some of the other hits on here indicate that this could have been a classic had it had like 6 or 7 or 8 more songs like the ones I'm getting ready to list for you. So underneath that concept, I'm going to go ahead and tell you the songs out of 14 that I recommend to you. So basically the 5 songs out of 14 I recommend to you would be Bank Account, Whole Lot, Dead People, Money Convo, and Close My Eyes. Now, Bank Account I've already described to you, but Whole Lot and Dead People both have some really kind of foresty, kind of creepy, and kind of outward, and kind of just really kind of wicked and gloomy. Like I said, real foresty, and by that I mean an actual forest. Just kind of a gloomy kind of forest type vibe to them. It really feels like something kind of in like a wicked kind of atmosphere, but the productions are not immediate. They're not like Usher's Yeah or some song like that just kind of has an instantaneous #1 type hit. They just feel very kind of laid back and just kind of creepy in the background kind of music, but I do appreciate that quite a bit because it's new. I mean, there's not a lot of production like the songs that I listed to you that I've heard and many other tangents, so it's just different. That's kind of the thing. I just wish that there, like I said, were 6 or 7 more songs like it. And then Close My Eyes was one of the creepiest songs on here. That one and Money Convo were both really kind of creepy and more of like kind of had like a real kind of just ominous kind of vibe to them. I mean, that was really 21 Savage in his most ominous and kind of looming type feel, where his eyes kind of light up in like a yellow gleam, and it kind of feels like he's really kind of alive and angry almost, just kind of pissed off, which that doesn't happen enough either. I mean, Numb, it seems like he kind of does that, but it doesn't compare to like Close My Eyes and Money Convo. Those kind of moments needed to happen more. That's definitely what the song Thug Life should have been like. But so yeah, it's just a really kind of mediocre and a little bit almost a tab beneath mediocre project where it has potential, but the initiation and the execution of it are not quite as good as it needed to be. And it really could have used some guests also. I mean, I like some of the production on here, but I really feel like the spotlight with the combination of not enough interesting topics, recurring themes, and missed opportunities for some of the song topics, it kind of results in just like the concept where it's like, someone else could have taken the spotlight and showcased the fact that, hey, this, it could have been a lot more of a vivacious kind of affair, but it wasn't. So I'm going to give this record out of 10, a 3.5 out of 10, because I like 5 out of 14, which is basically less than half. So I really feel like 3.5 is not to say this album is crap and there's nothing going for it, because there is, but it's just not anywhere near like an outstanding classic or extremely good project. It has potential, and if really all you're looking for is like 2 or 3 good hits, it has you covered, but it's just not something that goes the whole 9 yards, the whole day kind of thing. That is kind of the concept. So the social score, I'm going to have to just give like a 2 out of 10, just because Bank Account was a good song, but no promotional singles, no other music videos, no other singles. I don't know why 21 Savage just called, closed up shop that quickly, just like that. I mean, he did have a pretty big year because he did a collaboration album with Offset later in the year, but I kind of feel like it's just kind of like, the guy should have had a few more moments to kind of showcase this project, because I definitely think like Dead People or one of those songs could have charted pretty decently. It should have had something should have happened. At least get put out 2 singles when you're putting out albums. It's just something to do, because that's how you become a one-hit wonder. But so in terms of the future, I kind of feel like 21 Savage did drop an album in 2018, and he dropped a collaboration album. He's dropped a number of projects. He's not just 1 or 2 project person, but I want to say if he has more songs like Bank Account and Dead People and Money Combo, songs like that, I definitely say I'd be interested in seeing some more stuff that he has. But he's been kind of quiet recently. I mean, really, I don't know what his most recent project is. I know he's dropped at least 2 albums, but I'm just kind of curious. So we'll have to see what's up with what he's done.